So welcome everybody, welcome to our virtual coffee. This is meant to be a period where we have open discussion. So there will be a couple of minutes introduction presentation that we will record. This is just to set the topic. And after that introduction presentation, we'll stop the recording so everybody can talk freely and say their mind without being scared of being recorded. So in this particular case, I'm going to be doing the setting up of the stage today. The topic that I chose to bring forward is how BPM plus health complements FHIR. So let me get going with this right away so that we can have the ensuing conversation. So just a little bit of terminology setting for those of you that are new to this group or to this terminology. So we're talking about two main concepts here. One is workflow automation, the other one is decision automation. And by workflow automation, we mean very broadly the technology that enables the orchestration of activities able to react to business events. And on the decision automation point of view, where we really mean technology that enables decision returning an answer given a particular set of inputs. And by the way, these can be with human in the loops or with no human in the loops. Normally we'll refer to them as knowledge worker or subject matter expert. So within the context of the OMG, we have a set of standards that we will refer to with the moniker BPM plus, and these include DMN, the decision model and notation, BPMN, the business process model and notation, and CMMN, the case management model and notation. And as their name kind of say, they all have a separate purpose. So we have a separation of concerns here. They all share the model and notation moniker, which means that they're all languages with which you can create a deep model based on a visual notation. So all three of them share that aspect. And then the difference is that DMN is really for capturing decision, including decision tables and logical expression and rules. And BPMN is really more meant to capture processes or workflow in a prescriptive sequence of activities, where CMMN is more meant to capture cases, that is a context in which we're going to react to events. So this is basically at a very high level the differentiation between the three standards, what they share in common and what differentiates them. Now to the topic of today. Created this diagram highly influenced by a diagram that Bo Dagnall did before. And this is basically to give you the setup of how we see the complementary aspect. So if you look at this hand here, we have the notion of data. And with the data, what really our purpose is, our intent is to aggregate all this data from various sources, whether it's from various EMR, device, or any kind of source. Interestingly enough, is when we aggregate this data, if we add on top of this FHIR, then we get to computable data. So we have data that is computable, and that can lead to data automation. So with FHIR, we gain a common schema, identity resolution, medical resources, and all these nice attributes that FHIR brings to the table. So it gives us an environment where we can really manipulate data and do computable data around data automation. Then if we add CDS hook or other kind of hooks, then what we have is the data in the clinical context. And by adding data in context, we obtain information. So by adding this, we are in a mode of information automation where we have metadata that is provided, we have the context, and we have event awareness. So we have really an information flow here that we can automate. And that's where we think BPM Plus comes into play. BPM Plus brings you the orchestration of knowledge by adding the workflow and decision automation. So we gain task and activity, roles and responsibility, decisioning, case management, event orchestration, and we can even orchestrate AI and machine learning into that orchestration, which leads us to the intelligent healthcare automation context that we want to achieve. So this is the ground setting for the conversation of where I see how BPM Plus complement, and I say I think it's pretty much a vision shared by the community here, but that certainly is how I'm presenting it here today to set up the stage for our ensuing conversation today. So that was basically my presentation. So we're going to be ready to discuss all this.